Hi, and welcome to episode 96 of the Dinner Sisters podcast. We're two sisters taking on the nightly challenge of dinner. I'm Kate Schultz, living and working in Rhode Island. I'm a passionate cook and recipe collector, always thinking about my next meal.
And I'm Betsy Wallace. I live, work, and raise a family in Atlanta, Georgia, and of course love dinner time, but can always use help planning and cooking for my family of 5.
Our goal with this podcast, we want to cook a little better, learn a little bit about food, and most importantly, figure out what the heck to have for dinner. Here's how this works. Like every week, we have 3 recipes that we cooked and reviewed from popular food blogs, internet chefs, like anywhere I can find a recipe online. We'll have all these recipes, tips, the smorgasbord, and a shopping list on our website at dinnersisters.com. You can also get them sent directly to your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter, which I write every week and send out on Monday mornings. So if you'd like to do that, you can preview everything before listening.
All right, Kate, let's dive into it. First episode of 2020.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's a new decade. Let's see what we've got in store here. All right. This week's recipes were cheese-free sweet potato quesadillas from Serious Eats, Asian ground beef, mushroom, and broccoli slaw lettuce cups from Nom Nom Paleo, and creamy chicken and mushroom soup from Damn Delicious.
So, Betsy, you and I are not super into New Year's resolutions, right? I mean,
yeah, we don't really go heavy into any of the like a lot of respect if you do, but
yeah,
we're just not one of these like dry January or Whole30
right,
or like lots of that kind of stuff.
But there is something about like turning the calendar page for me that makes me think about like changing things up a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And if you are the type of person to make resolutions, maybe this episode is for you.
Yeah, I always think it's nice anyways to cook this time of year. We all feel like we could use a little something healthier, maybe something easier after all that project cooking that came with the holidays. So I thought this was just a really great episode. And I will say, you know, both of us are Gretchen Rubin fans. We did a 19 and 2019 last year as a family. And it was super fun, which is basically 19 things you want to do in 2019. So we are going to do a 20 in 2020 list for ourselves as a family this year too. So,
oh, you are?
Yes.
Well, that's fun. Like a family list. I love the family list.
It's a family list. Yeah. So our resolutions aren't necessarily around food because I feel like our food is very driven by this podcast, to be honest, Kate. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like I can't handle much more. I get it. I get it.
We've got a real strong plan for the food situation.
Yeah.
But as far as New Year's goes, that's what we have on deck, which is really fun. We're going to be making those lists tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fun. Well, for us and our New Year's resolution, I think it's just to continue cooking dinner. So the first recipe for that is for anyone who made a New Year's resolution to maybe go plant-based or vegan this year, or maybe for January. And it's a cheese-free sweet potato quesadilla from Serious Eats. So I think the best way to describe this is like picture your typical quesadilla, but no cheese, and instead mashed potatoes. That would be amazing. Mashed sweet potatoes as the filling. Okay. So to make it, you just roast a big sweet potato in your oven until it's very soft. I mean, you just like keep it whole, poke some holes in it, and bake it at 400 degrees until it's almost like collapsed on itself. You want this really, really soft. And when that's done and cool enough to handle, you scoop it out from the peel and mash with some chopped pickled jalapenos, cilantro, and green onions. A little salt, little pepper. And that's it. You've got your filling. And then you just make quesadillas. And for those of you out there who have not made your own quesadilla, like it's darn simple, right? You just spread a little sweet potato on half a tortilla, fold it over, and then you fry it in a pan with a little oil until the tortilla is puffy and nice and really toasty brown. That's it. And then you slice it into triangles and eat it. It's pretty, I mean, that's it, right? It's a quesadilla. There's not much more to say. I'm curious, Betsy, though, how everyone liked this.
Okay. So I was not sure about these, Kate, to be honest with you. But they were a hit. I was so surprised. I thought this is like basically a nothing recipe, and also we're putting potatoes in between the quesadillas. Right. But so I'll tell you what I did here. I used Bush's Southwestern style pinto beans from Publix. Okay. So it was like pinto beans, but it was said, you know, jalapenos or some mild, it was like some mild peppers, one of their like kind of premix bean things. So I scooped some of that on there, and that was delicious with the sweet potatoes. I thought that
nice. Yum.
Yeah, it just added like enough flavor in there, and it was mild enough that my kids thought it was just delicious. They loved the beans because they were like the big pinto beans.
Yeah.
And also it didn't have to mix all these other ingredients up,
sure.
kind of. So it made it really easy. I did pre-make the sweet potatoes, so I had those on hand. So this came together in I cracked open the can, turned my stove on, and we had quesadillas in like 10 minutes. There was
super simple.
Yeah, so the girls love them. Grant said he doesn't like sweet potatoes, which is apparently a thing now that I didn't know about.
Oh my gosh. I have seen him eat like a lot of sweet potatoes.
Oh, so have I. He was like, no, I don't like sweet potatoes. And I was just, okay.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah. And Ryan said, well, I mean, I don't think you can tell people this is a replacement for a cheese quesadilla. And I mean... Ryan, I don't think people think this is like a magic podcast. Of course, sweet potatoes don't taste like cheese. Like, I think that's sort of understood, and we will not make a false promise to you that this will taste exactly like a cheese quesadilla. But I mean, I love the fact that these are healthier. I mean, having all those sweet potatoes in there was delicious.
Not a bad thing.
Yes, have some beans in there. They really ate these up. My kids really ate these up. And I just thought, whoa, this is a great trick. So
I too was surprised. I kind of went into this like, all right, we'll see how this goes. Right. Yeah. And I made them and I thought, I made like a big platter of them. And I didn't think, I was not going to eat all of them, but maybe I'll have some for leftovers. Cause I wanted the picture. Sometimes I have to make a little bit more than I want to. And then I'll have leftovers, which is fine. I made the big platter and then I found myself just like, continuing to eat them. I had to stop myself. I was like, you do not need 3 tortillas worth of sweet potato quesadillas. You know what I mean? Yes, they were delicious. And I did not make any beans to go along with them. I just did the recipe as it was. Mainly because I was taking the picture. I kind of like to have it be what the recipe says. But they were really good. Better than I thought. I would highly recommend these to people. I think also just make sure that you really brown your tortilla, because I had some, since I made 3 in a row, I had ones that were like lighter than the others, and the ones that were nice, really toasty golden brown were the most delicious, for sure. And like, don't be afraid of putting oil in your pan on these. If you're trying not to eat a lot of fat, fine, do you. But if that's not a problem for you and you're like, well, I'm not eating all this cheese, put a little bit of oil in there. It'll really puff up the tortilla nicely and get it like super crisp and delicious, which is so good.
Yeah, I for sure did mine in butter.
I mean, oh yeah.
And it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yes. So do that, guys. Just go ahead. Just live your best life. I'm so glad you and I both roasted sweet potatoes the day before. That was like a genius move on our part. I did it like at night. Like night, like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I was like, well, I'll just roast my sweet potato now. I'm just watching Queer Eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I kind of did a whole slew of them. I made like 5 or 6 sweet potatoes when I was making the dinner the night before. I just put it in the oven while I was in the kitchen, which is something I should do more often. I thought
the same thing.
You know what? Having those sweet potatoes in there. Maida one day this week for breakfast, when they were in there, like the next day, said, "Oh, can I just have a sweet potato for breakfast?" And I was like, "Yes, you can."
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure you can.
That sounds good and delicious and healthy.
Yeah.
That was also a takeaway.
So there were some other suggested fillings like to add to the sweet potato, like corn and poblano peppers. You added beans. I thought that was a great idea. I think if you had chipotle peppers, like in the can, sometimes I make a recipe with the chipotle peppers left, and then you just have this like rando bits of pepper in your fridge. Yeah. That would be delicious. This is a 4 to 5 stars for me. Much higher than I thought it would be. How about you?
Yeah, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5, Kate, because
shocked.
Yes, me too, because I was kind of dragging my feet on this one. This is my drag the feet one, because I thought there's no way sweet potatoes in between some flour tortillas is going to be good.
Right.
So,
and here we are. Yeah. I will say a friend of mine coined these taterdillas.
Oh.
Instead of quesadillas. And
I like that.
Gold Star Allison for calling them taterdillas, because that's what I want to call them for the rest of my life.
I know. And Kate, it's funny. I did think while I was making these, like, But could you also put some like just mashed potatoes and cheddar cheese? Did you have that thought? I was like,
yes.
Oh.
It like defeats the purpose, but maybe.
The most delicious thing you've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming up next, we have Asian ground beef, mushroom, and broccoli slaw lettuce cups from Nom Nom Paleo. Kate, how do you make these?
So I love a lettuce cup. And I know we've made them before with chicken in episode 29. Actually, I had to go back and look at that. I was like, how long has it been? It's been a minute. But I chose these because they are, go back to our resolution theme. They are Whole30 and Paleo compliant, which means a whole bunch of things. But basically, you're not eating grains. You're not eating any like sugar or dairy, things like that. So this recipe, if you're doing that kind of thing or know someone who is, it's compliant. So you can just make this up. And it was super stovetop quick. So to make it, you puree an onion in the food processor, which was like brilliant because then you're not chopping onions, And then you add it to a heated pan with some ghee, which is the clarified butter, or coconut oil or your oil of choice, depending upon if you're a paleo or not. Just saute that until it's translucent. And then you add in 8 ounces, like one of those containers, regular containers of sliced cremini mushrooms. You cook until the moisture is gone. And then you add in some garlic and ground beef. Brown that all up, and then add in the kind of the sauce, which is apple cider vinegar, coconut aminos, which is a Whole30 substitution for soy sauce, and fish sauce. So I used soy sauce, to be really honest, right? You just let that cook for a bit, and then you add in shredded carrots right out of the shredded carrot bag, and then some broccoli slaw, which is what it sounds like. It's broccoli made into like a coleslaw shape, shredded broccoli, essentially. And you just let the veggies soften, and then you add in some chopped cilantro and some scallions. And to serve, you pile it all in butter lettuce leaves. This is a wrap, right? So that's what you're kind of trying to make. This came together like 1, 2, 3 for me. So how did this work for you, Betsy?
Yeah, I also was reminded how much I like a lettuce cup, and I don't think I've made them since episode 29.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, we made those Pioneer Woman chicken ones, and those were delicious also. And I thought, good reminder, I should make both of these more often this year.
Yes.
So I got the butter lettuce from Aldi's, which is great and works well. I did all my shopping for for this episode there this week. I used olive oil and regular mushrooms in this.
Yeah.
I thought that was totally fine. I don't think you need to go out of your way to get if you're not needing to be compliant. I think that just your pantry staple kind of stuff will work. And kind of like you, I felt like this was a quick payoff, not a lot of work, pretty delicious, felt healthy. And I've got some cabbage, which I didn't use for this, but I thought, I bet I could make this again and use like cabbage and carrots or be a little
100%.
kind of like flexible here as long as you've got like the ground beef and kind of the, the flavoring seasonings and the butter lettuce. You can kind of play with the veggies you're adding in.
Yeah, I think so too. I loved that this was so veggie heavy. I mean, it seems like with ground beef, sometimes recipes, they end up being really meaty.
Yes.
And I feel like if I actually made it with the same amount of vegetables and half the beef, mainly because I screwed up the proportions of the mushrooms when I was going. I was like, oh, man. And then I was like, well, why not just go ahead and do it? And, it was delicious. So I think you can kind of play with proportions a little bit if you're trying to like eat more vegetables, kind of cut down on your meat. I just got butter lettuce that I found in the grocery store, just pulled it off the shelf. I think you could use that. I thought this was great. If you're not going Whole30 and you want to just have this with some white rice, this would be delicious on top of white rice.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
So I thought this was a great payoff for a recipe that was pretty easy. And I think also like this seems very pantry friendly, like you're saying, Betsy, right? Oh, I've got some cabbage and ground beef and the sauce is all pantry items. So, Yeah. I also I've been reading a little bit. I feel like the New York Times came out with something recently that had like the no sugar or reduce your amount of sugar you're eating and things. And I think a lot of these recipes that we've made that has a similar sauce made with the soy sauce and the fish sauce will often throw a tablespoon or 2 of brown sugar in there. Yes.
And this one did not. So if you are looking to kind of cut down on your sugar, this is another good option. So.
Yeah. Great. So this is a 5 out of 5 for me because it was just like, here we go. What was your rating?
I'm giving this a high 4 out of 5 for me
Nice.
as well. All right, Kate, the last recipe of the day is creamy chicken and mushroom soup from Damn Delicious.
Okay, so this resolution has like literally nothing to do with diet at all, but it has everything to do with what you and I do every week, which is make time to cook dinner. And so if that's a resolution that you have, like, I want to cook at home more often, but I don't want to make crazy Kate project recipes every weeknight, here's an actual like weeknight friendly meal for you to make. That is this delicious soup. So it's a little bit on the lighter side, has some veggies in it, and it comes together in like a half an hour, which is super fun. Mm-hmm. So to make it, you just cut up a half pound of chicken thighs into bite-sized pieces without the skin, the boneless skinless ones. And you brown them in some olive oil in your stock pot or Dutch oven. When they're browned, you set them aside, and then you melt a pat of butter into the pot. You add in some chopped onion, carrots, celery, garlic, and mushrooms. Sauté that until they're nice and soft and liquid is largely gone. And mushrooms throw off a bit of liquid, so this might take a little bit of time. Then you just add in a little bit of, speaking of time, you add in some dried thyme, and you cook until you can smell that. It starts to smell delicious. Over all the vegetables, you sprinkle a 1/4 cup of flour, and you kind of use a whisk to stir it around, coat the veggies, make sure that, everything's covered, and just let that cook for about a minute or so to get the raw taste out of the flour, brown the flour a little bit. Then you whisk in a quart, which is 4 cups of chicken stock, and you just stir that until it thickens up. It takes like 4 or 5 minutes or so at a good high heat. When that's thickened up nicely, add in a good glug or 2 of half and half, and that's the creamy part of it. You want to heat that through, and then you just add a little chopped parsley at the end if you like. There you go. You've got some creamy chicken mushroom soup. How did everyone like it, Betsy?
Okay, so we all love this soup. I'm just going to start off saying that. And I thought the technique here of using the veggies to kind of capture the flour and make the sauce out of that with the butter and the flour and the veggies in there, it just seemed kind of easier to me. I don't know why, but I liked it.
I've seen soup made 2 different ways where you pull it out or you put it in. I think leaving it in, I don't know. Like, I'm no expert. Maybe someone out there knows, but like leaving the veggies in, so much easier.
Yeah, I think I had to read this recipe a couple of times because I thought I get to just leave them in. I don't have to pull everything out again. This is kind of nice. I'm liking this. So that was easy. I actually started with rotisserie chicken on this, Kate.
Nice.
Yes.
There you go.
I will tell you, I had my first Costco shopping trip. I have never been to Costco before.
Oh. I
went with my father-in-law who is in town, and he was
he loves Costco.
He loves Costco. He was like, you need to get one of these rotisserie chickens. And of course, they're huge. So I had this big chicken, and I knew I needed to make this chicken noodle soup. So I thought, ooh, good, I'm going to start with this. So really, I just took the chicken off of that rotisserie and then started with the vegetables in the pot.
Oh, nice.
Which made it super fast. I also had some kind of like a 1/4 of a bag of egg noodles in my pantry.
Oh.
And so at the end of the soup, I just threw the egg noodles in there too. Kind of before I put the cream in, like during the stock phase.
Sure.
Cooked it out a little bit longer.
Nice.
Put the cream in to finish it up. I think this recipe is excellent as is. An excellent jumping off point for maybe whatever you want to do and would be super hard to break. I do not think you can really like fail at this recipe.
I know.
Honestly, I was just like, wow, I think anyone could make this and it's delicious.
I think if you had extra rice in the fridge, you could just like throw that in a bowl, and then ladle the soup on top of it and have that be good. I had this with some whole wheat toast. Like I didn't throw anything in there and I was like, oh, this is such a delicious little meal. I'm going to keep this in mind for like, if someone's not feeling well, this would be delicious soup to bring to them. Or on a day when I have a cold and I'm not feeling great, but I don't want to you want to have something in the fridge. So I don't know. This is a pretty perfect recipe. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5.
I am too. I thought I need to learn how to just make this and memorize this. Like I need to learn how to make
this is a memorizing soup.
Yeah. Okay, Kate, what was your favorite on the week?
I mean, they were all really good, but I think just like looking back, what I loved eating the most, it was the Asian beef lettuce wraps. They were fantastic.
Yeah,
How about you?
I really also liked I liked everything this week. I just thought it was a good episode. I'm going to go for the quesadillas in the end, because as I was eating those, I thought, I can feed kids for lunch with these. I can feed neighbor kids for dinner with these. I can feed myself with this. Like, so many good options. It kind of opened up my whole quesadilla world, which really surprised me.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, if any of these recipes sound good to you, make sure to check out our show notes and grocery list at dinnersisters.com. There you'll find links to all the recipes, any tips or techniques we talked about, everything good on this episode. And if you'd like to chat more with us, you can always ask to join our Dinner Sisters Facebook group. Search for Dinner Sisters Podcast on Facebook, and you'll find a way to join our group on our page.
All right, before we head to the smorgasbord, a break. Okay, so this week on the smorgasbord, we're going to talk about some listener tips and a celery salad that I loved.
I wanted to kick off with a fantastic tip from Dorothy, who's a great member of our Facebook group. She was talking about how she uses her Instant Pot to make a little proofing box for bread, like a little warm place for your bread to rise. So apparently you can just set it on the yogurt setting and then cover it with a plate or the glass lid if you have it, and then just let it rise. And it keeps it nice and warm, which is just brilliant. Yeah. And so she just loves the texture she gets from proofing bread this way. And, I can't wait to try it. Wintertime, in cooler climes or anywhere really, bread takes forever to rise. Sometimes the yeast just doesn't like to get going. So sometimes I'll heat up my oven, which feels like a big waste of energy and stuff. So this feels great, and I'm excited to try it. So thanks, Dorothy. Awesome tip. Betsy, you have some tips and a recipe to share, right?
I do, yes. So a few episodes ago, we did a butternut squash baked pasta for one of our December episodes. And I was complaining a little bit that there wasn't some sort of clever hack. And
a little bit? Or is it a little bit? Or...
I was a little bit, Kate. I don't get too whiny on this podcast. But so it was delicious, though. That was the thing, is I thought, this is delicious. True. It just, everything took a while to kind of put together. So thankfully, we also got some tips from our listeners right away about
so good.
Maybe making this easier for other people who want to try it. So Dorothy again posted a great method for making the squash in the Instant Pot. She's one of our Instant Pot experts.
She really is.
Yeah. Just put the whole thing in with a cup of water, cook it under high pressure for about 20 minutes. And then after about 10 minutes of the release time, you can do the quick release. So
nice.
We'll have a link to exact instructions in the show notes. She put a little link to a website, so we'll add that. Second tip came from Carla, who posted a helpful tip to go about it in a different way. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can always put the whole squash in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes. She says she does that to make it easier to kind of break down, cube it up, whatever she kind of wants to do with it. You're just not whacking at this rock hard squash.
I mean, that's super smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Katie also chimed in that her mom told her you can put the squash in the microwave oven to soften it up a little bit too. And she's been loving that option. So lots of things to do to make your butternut squash wrangling easier.
And maybe a little safer, too. Those suckers roll.
They do. Yeah. It can be tough. And I think everyone loves a butternut squash, but you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
We're doing this. So my second tip here was just something, Kate, I cannot stop talking about with you.
I know. You're obsessed with a salad.
I am obsessed with this salad. So I wanted to just share it in this little section here where I get to choose some recipes. Betsy's special section today. Okay. Celery salad with dates, almonds, and Parmesan from Bon Appetit. So really all this is they say take 8 celery stalks on a diagonal, kind of, with the leaves and everything. You chop up and roast some almonds. I've done it with just also the sliced almonds in the bag, roast those a little bit too. Coarsely chop up some dates. And then you mix the almonds, your sliced celery, your chopped dates with some lemon juice, olive oil, red pepper flakes, and black pepper.
That's it,
Over the top of it, you just shave some Parmesan. So I use like my vegetable peeler to get those long shavings kind of on top of this. So it's so simple because it's really all you're eating is a little bite of like almond celery and dates with this fresh lemon and olive oil and a little salty cheese. So I served this. I made it for Ryan and I went for dinner. I think we had, I don't know, we had something else, and this is our side salad because I got a lot of celery. I've been getting it in my Misfits Market box, and so I needed something to do with this. And then we had neighbors over for pizzas, and I made this as kind of like this nice, casual, easy, more adult salad because there are, some red pepper flakes in here if you want to put them in. And the dates sometimes can be more of an adult flavor for, I don't understand this because they taste like brown sugar. But anyways, the salad just kind of felt like a nice, grown-up, delicious side.
That's a fantastic idea.
For this kind of just having people over for pizza. So anyways, I'm crazy about this salad, and I just hope someone tries it because I love it.
Well, I haven't made it yet. I totally need to. I think between the holidays and everything, I just haven't been able to do it. But I've got almost all the ingredients in the house except for the Parmesan. So I might make a special trip today to go get it and try it out because it sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you make the celery salad, definitely let us know. But the other thing I wanted to do is remind everybody that we have a survey out right now, and we want to know what you think about our podcast, who you are, what you think, any suggestions you might have for us, all those sorts of things. It got sent out in our newsletter. There's a link in our Facebook group, and I might just put a link on our podcast page in the next couple days. So if you don't belong to any of those things or access us in those ways, you can get a chance to take the survey. If you end up taking the survey, we've got some prizes. We've got a burlap and barrel gift certificate, so there's 2 prizes, or you could win a Dinner Sisters tote. So if you take the survey, give us your email and name, then we will enter you in the little raffle and send you a prize. It's been super fun so far. I think we've got about 50 people that have given us their thoughts. So thank you, if you're a person who's done that already, for your time to do that survey. But we'd love to hear from many, many more. So the more the merrier on this one.
Yeah, Kate, it's been really fun. We're getting some great feedback. We're getting lots of ideas for episodes and recipes and things people like and things people maybe want to see a little bit less of.
Yep.
We're just like, just tell us what you think. That's what we're looking for here. So
for sure.
All right. Coming up next week, we are digging right into winter with some stews, Kate.
Yeah. I just wanted to go completely seasonal. I was like, what's more January than a stew? Not much.
Love it.
Yeah. So we got some different options too. I've got a vegan stew, which sounded interesting. A little fish stew with a Moroccan flair. So I'm excited to try these recipes.
All right. So that's what's for dinner this week. See you next time on the Dinner Sisters. We'll save a spot at the table for you.
Would you like a little dinner in your inbox every week? Subscribe to our newsletter by going to our website at dinnersisters.com. We've got show notes, other fun stuff on there. If you've got some dinner ideas, you can always shoot us an email at dinnersisterspodcast@gmail.com. Lastly, as per usual, if you like what you're hearing, please review and subscribe. And maybe tell a friend. That's how people get to know us. Thanks, and happy eating.